One of the secrets to exposure for your business lies within supporting Black businesses and entrepreneurs. And that is why the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce is here to connect Black businesses from the desert to the sea. Let's join hands to empower and sustain our community. By becoming a member of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, you can grow your business and increase your clientele. With our innovation, we'll generate new businesses and get new customers. And we'll connect new mindsets with businesses from across Southern California to help bridge the wealth gap. Let's connect, build, and grow together. Join us now at blackchamberofcommerce.org.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are here on my show, MyTueSense. I am Debra Mcglothurn, and I am your host. I'm a mother, daughter, sister, auntie, cousin, friend. I'm caring, compassionate, considerate, romantic, a creative, and a lover of nature. I have a master's in business administration and a bachelor's of science in business. And I have 5 children that have given me degrees that you will never see on the law. That's a little bit about me. And what is my 2 cents? Well, my 2 cents in a phrase is motivation through exposure. That's what I've come to know it as or express it as. So I'll be discussing things that I believe are important enough to share. Not necessarily trending topics, but I will cover some of those from time to time. But things that matter to me and perhaps will matter to you as well. So I will share my 2 cents. You can share your 2 cents. And hopefully together we can make some sense and make some minute changes in our lives and in the lives of the people around us. And with that being said, if you have any topics that you would like my take on, you would like my 2 cents on, enter them into the chat or email me at mytwocents@gmail.com. It is at the bottom of the screen there as well. Again, it's mytwocents@gmail.com. So the inspirational quote for today: take the time to understand before you respond. That's the inspirational quote. I want you to remember that. We're going to talk about that more also again later. Take the time to understand before you respond. So the topic for the day is empathy doesn't mean agreement. And we'll talk about it when we come back from this commercial break.
Good news for the Southern California business community. Now you can add your business to the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce Business Directory complimentary. We have been working tirelessly to build a list of Black-owned enterprises in Southern California. This is an excellent way for you to be a part of an expansive network and find your ideal customers, business partners, and vendors. So don't waste time. Visit blackchamberofcommerce.org today and add your business today.
And we are back. So again, the topic for the day is empathy doesn't mean agreement. So I had a conversation with ChatGPT about this topic, because of late I've been feeling overwhelmed with empathy to the point that for the last few days, it's all that's been on my mind. It's all that I've been thinking about. I feel it reading posts online. I feel it watching movies or Netflix, or hearing about a couple breaking up. I feel it. And to the point where I get emotional about it. And of course, I'm going to express myself. I'm going to give my 2 cents about the conversation if I'm in that position to do that with whomever it is. So you guys know that I have personally been dealing with some heartbreak myself, right? And that in and of itself is enough to warrant the ability for me to empathize with someone going through the same thing, for their story to resonate with me. And like I said, I'll generally give my 2 cents. See what I did there? In those situations, my 2 cents, because I would hate for someone to walk away from a great relationship for something that in the grand scheme of things was just a minor hiccup. mainly because it wasn't just the one thing. It was the pattern of no consideration. It was the blatant disrespect or the inconsistency. Some things that they may have not even verbally expressed or even identified. So how can you fix it if you don't know what it is? So that's what we're going to talk about today. And the empathy, I keep saying empathy, that we're talking about is not just about heartbreak. It's about being passionate, something that you're really into, something that you want to put your all into. It's about expressing words that communicate so clearly the deep needs or the desire that one has. It's about having the determination to reach a goal that one sets for themselves. I cry painful tears for people that I don't even know, for situations that I'm just aware of. I may not know the people. It may be through a song. It may be through a movie. It could have been through whatever it is. But when I feel deeply about the situation, automatically the tears just come. They may not fall, but they come. Well, mostly they do fall. If they come, they're most likely going to fall, because especially when they're painful, it's like it came from nowhere, and they're huge, big. What do they call them? Alligator tears. Excuse me. I didn't even want to have this conversation because I get emotional. I didn't want to be crying on Mark Zuckerberg's internet over here talking to you guys about having empathy. And whenever I get in when I start talking about a conversation and I feel myself sharing more of my personal story, too much of my personal story, or speaking on my personal life too directly, then I'll quickly change the subject, change the conversation. I'll stop right in my tracks. I'll be like, I don't want to say that, or I shouldn't have said that, or whatever, and I just move on. But I felt like this topic was enough I felt enough for this topic that not enough people view life in the way of putting themselves in other people's shoes. What is empathy? So I got the Merriam-Webster's definition. Now, this is a simple definition because they gave me a couple other ones, and we'll talk about those as well. This is a simple entry of what empathy is. It's the feeling that you understand and share another person's experiences and emotions. For example, he felt great empathy towards the poor. The ability to share someone else's feelings. So this is the short version. This is the simple entry that they have in the Merriam-Webster dictionary. But I like the ones that they expounded a little more on what that definition meant. So I believe this gives a clearer scope of understanding it. So it says the action of understanding, being aware, being sensitive to, and vicariously experiencing the feelings, thoughts, and experiences of another. The act of imagining one's ideas, feelings, attitudes as fully inhabiting something observed. The imaginative projection of a subjective state into an object so that the object appears to be infused with it. That says a lot, right? This tells me you're being fully immersed, infused in the situation, in the understanding of what's going on. Empathy. So again, the topic for the day is empathy doesn't mean agreement. So we define empathy. I'm not going to read it back again, but the biggest part of it for me was the being fully immersed in the thing, the person, the situation, like becoming the character of a story, enough to feel the emotions. When you watch a movie, do you find yourself becoming one of the characters in the movie and just being able to identify wholeheartedly what it is that they're going through, what it is their expression, what it is that they're feeling in their parts? Does that sound crazy? It's not crazy. It's passion. It's like you can get impart into whatever that is. And it's like when you usually, if I'm watching a movie, I already know what's coming next. I already know what they're going to say. I already know who's going to do something. I may not know the full rundown of what's going to happen in this movie, but a lot of times I already understand where it's going. And I pick up on the little details that they share along the way that you may or might not pick up. But at the end, you say, oh, that's why they did this back here, or that's why they said that. But I pay attention to those things. So I see those things. So when it says being immersed, it's being fully infused. It's like you're putting a scent in a candle that is infusing it into it. You cannot not smell that candle without smelling this scent. You cannot smell the candle without smelling the scent, because it's infused in it. It becomes a part of it. So we're going to go through 7 points on empathy. So the first point is empathy does not mean you agree, which is also basically the title of the podcast for today. You can understand someone's feelings. You can understand their perspective without agreeing to their choices. You can see yourself and you can understand, because when you see a conversation or you see a situation and you're outside of the situation, you can usually see both sides of that. And you can also see the in between. So you have a better understanding of, yeah, maybe they shouldn't have done that. Maybe they shouldn't have done that. Maybe they shouldn't have said that. Maybe they shouldn't have said that. And you could see where both parties may have fallen short in that conversation. If you're dealing with this one party and you're talking to them, you can understand, you can see what it is that they're saying. You can feel what it is. You can have a clear understanding of why they did what they did and why they said what they said, but still not agree with what it was, with the decision that they made. So, secondly, the point number 2, everyone is carrying something that you can't see. So when you see a person that's being rude, they're being disrespectful, they're being impatient, they're being difficult, you don't know what they're dealing with outside of this interaction that they're having with you. I remember I was working at Sears some years ago, and one of our coworkers, his wife was really sick. She was having a lot of health issues going on, and he was at work this particular day. We had a customer come in, and his wife was actually, kind of going back and forth. They didn't know if she was going to make it or not make it. He came to work. He needed the distraction, blah, blah, blah. And this lady came in, and she was the most rudest person that I had ever seen, that I have ever experienced on that floor. Now, can I say in life? Maybe not in life, but definitely on that sales floor. She was the rudest person that I had ever experienced. And so she kept, just being really, really rude and abrupt and nasty with him, and dealing with her. We were selling appliances, so she's purchasing appliances. So while he was off doing something else, we kind of had a little conversation with her just to kind of help her to understand what he was dealing with, because if he was not responding to her as fast as she felt like he should, or the way that she felt like he should, we're trying to help her to kind of see the scope of what's going on. And her response in that was, so? She said, so? And she proceeded to say, My dad just passed this morning. I don't give a flippin' flop, flop, blop, blop what he's dealing with, right? And understanding that we understood what he was going through and what he was dealing with, but we didn't understand what it was that she was dealing with and what she was going through. And when you put those two people together, somebody's got to be the bigger person, or it's going to be really ugly. And from her behavior, and I'm seeing this I'm hearing this in my head for the first time right now, as far as not knowing what she was dealing with. But because even at that time, she seemed like she was really cold, even in the fact that her dad had passed. It was like she was super cold as far as how she was even dealing with that aspect of it. It's like, whoop-de-doo, it's no big deal. But people deal with grief differently, so we can't even judge her in that. And that's another thing with empathy. Empathy helps you to see a person without judging them, without judging what they're doing, the responses or the perspective that they're taking, the decisions that they're making, if you're understanding what it is that they're dealing with. That was number 2. So number 1 was empathy doesn't mean that you agree. Number 2 is everyone is carrying something that you can't see. Number 3 is, and it's also kind of in line with the quote of the day, listen to understand, not to respond. So the quote of the day is take the time to understand before you respond. But if you're listening for an understanding, a lot of times we're having conversations and we already know how we want to respond to whatever it is that they're saying. And we're doing that without hearing them out, without getting a full understanding of what it is that they're trying to say and what it is that they want to get across. So sometimes people don't need advice. They need to know that someone genuinely heard them. And I wanted to include this quote. And I went to look up to find who this quote actually belonged to. But the quote was, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Now, there was a couple things that I got from who actually made this quote. Some said Theodore Roosevelt. Some said John C. Maxwell. What I found out was that John C. Maxwell quoted Bill Widener in one of his speeches to be the one that he had gotten this from. There's no record of Theodore Roosevelt saying this. There's a lot of records where John C. Maxwell used it, but John Maxwell also credited Bill Widener. I don't know who Bill Widener is, but that's who he credited with this saying. It may have been a friend of his or somebody that he knew. So listen to understand, not to respond. It makes a difference. If you can connect with someone, they can hear you. They're more willing to hear you, or they feel like they're being heard. And I know if I feel like I'm not being heard with someone that I'm talking to, there's going to be one of two things. I'm going to stop talking, because if you're not listening, why am I talking? I will do that with a quickness. So I'm going to either stop talking, or I'm going to shut down to a point where I'm not going to express very much to you. And if I do right now, I probably won't later, because you're not listening. Like, why waste my time with that? And with certain people, that would be the stance that I would take. So knowing me, and I'm pretty level-headed, and knowing that I will do that, knowing someone that's really maybe going through some stuff will probably do that as well. But listen to understand, not to respond. Number 4, stop making assumptions. We often create an entire story about someone from one interaction, whether it was a good interaction. I know we say that the first impression is a lasting impression, but if you see someone in a situation, just like in number 3, you don't know what they're going through. You don't know what they're dealing with. You don't know what came before that. Even when we see videos and interactions and stuff online, we don't know what happened prior to that recording getting started. So if we take the time and get a full understanding of what was going on, and not creating a story, because we're quick to do that, especially if it's something that has details left out. Even when you're dealing with people on a regular, everyday basis, if they give you part of the story, but don't give you the full story, and you get bits and pieces, you're going to kind of fill in the blank. At least I know I was kind of filling the blank with what's missing. What did they not say? I heard what they said, but I also heard what they didn't say. Sometimes I'm right and sometimes I'm not right. But stop making assumptions. We often create an entire story about someone based on one interaction. Number 5, empathy requires curiosity. So if someone is expressing to you or telling you something that's going on with them or something that happened with them, you want to find out, well, what did you do? Well, how did you do this? And what did they say? And when did this happen? And, you have questions to try to understand, get a true picture of what was happening at that time, or what was going on. And when you're looking at the situation, just like the lady in the appliance store that was looking to purchase refrigerators, when her dad passed, instead of asking what's wrong with them, because I felt like it was something wrong with her, try asking, I wonder what they're experiencing. So you want to look beyond the words. So if you had a conversation or a relationship with someone and you're looking at something one way, they're looking at something totally different, and they're coming to you and it's seemingly just off the wall, like they flew off the handle, like what in the world triggered this person? I have no idea what it was that I did. When you take a step back and try to figure out, find out, get an understanding of what it was they're going through. And if you don't know, you're probably not going to know, but just at least think, okay, they might be going through some stuff today. They may not be in their right mind right now. They may not be being themselves. This is probably not how this person is all the time. So instead of asking what's wrong with them, try asking, I wonder what they're experiencing to make them. Number 6, empathy doesn't mean abandoning your boundaries. And this is an important one. So you can have compassion for someone and still say no. You can understand someone and still hold them accountable. I have a friend who has a hard time saying no. And I try to get him to understand, yes, you want to help when you can help. And some of you guys are probably like, I know she's not talking. But yes, you want to help if you can help. But when you're hurting yourself, doing whatever it is that they needed you or asked for you to do, while you're racking your brain trying to figure out how that you can complete this for them, how you can do this for them, because it's really not something that you can easily do. It's not something you can do. It's something you got to figure out. You might have to cancel something. You might have to rearrange something. You may have to not pay something when you really need to pay something. But you're trying to figure it out for this person. But while you're racking your brain to do that, and you say no, and this person turns around and say quickly, oh, it's okay, I'll get so-and-so to do it. What? After all of that, I'm racking my brain to try to figure it out, and you're just gonna get so-and-so to get somebody else to do it? Without even hesitating. You have to understand that people are going to figure out what they need to do for themselves. So if you can help, okay, help. But if you can't help, don't pin yourself up against the wall trying to help them when they're going to go to the next person if you can't do it anyway. And then what happens when you shot yourself in the foot and you've caused problems for yourself? Where are they? They happy-go-lucky because they got what they needed to get done. And you're still over here dealing with the consequences of you doing something that you were not in the position to do. Whether it's time-wise, whether it's finances, whether it's emotional, whatever it is, whether it's that you cause them to be late to go pick up somebody, or, just whatever it is that caused for them, because they tried to say yes when they should have said no. But it doesn't mean empathy does not mean abandoning your boundaries. You still have to consider your boundaries. You still have to consider the things you have to do. If you can help. But if you can't help, it's okay for you to say no. It's okay for you to say, not this time. It's okay for you to do that. And especially, you do that with a quickness. So try that one time. Try it one time and say, when someone is asking you and it's really, you're really not in a position to do it where it won't hurt you, say no. And then see how quickly they'll say, oh, that's okay. I'll get so-and-so to do it. Or I'll go and ask so-and-so. They already got their next person in line. So if you're that person that find a hard time saying no, don't do it. That was number 6. So we're going to talk about number 7 when we come back from this commercial break. And we are back. The topic again for today is empathy does not mean agreement. Empathy does not mean agreement. So we're on point number 7. Empathy starts with ourselves. Sometimes we're much harder on ourselves than we would ever be toward another person. Self-empathy can change how we treat others. So if we're super hard on ourselves when we make mistakes, when we fall short, when we're unforgiving of ourselves, it makes us that much harder on someone else. So if you can't give yourself that grace, if you can't be forgiving of yourself, you're not going to be forgiving of someone else. You're not going to care about what somebody else is doing. I know, I have another friend of mine. He has absolutely no empathy whatsoever. To the point where it is judgment, in how he deals with other people. But if we're super hard, if we can learn to forgive our own mistakes, if we can learn to appreciate our growth and see how far you came from, as far as where you are today, if you can really see that and you can appreciate the growth within yourself, and you can look at yourself and you say, you know what, at one time I would have went off on them so fast. Like one of the things that I was saying that was really hard for me. I think I didn't get to that. Oh yeah, when we were talking about listen to understand, not to respond. That was one of those things that used to be really hard for me, because I already had the answer for them. I already knew what they needed to do. I already had this, and I'm listening to what it is that they have to say. And I'm quickly interjecting what it is that I feel that they need to understand so they can make this adjustment. But sometimes it's not about us giving them answers. It's about us just hearing what they have to say and giving them a place where they can just voice that out. But that was something that I had to learn with me. That another thing that stands out for me from way back was cooking rice. And I felt like you had to do it this one way. This is how you cook rice. This is the way you cook rice. And it was like, that's the only way to do it. And then I learned that there's so many different ways of cooking rice and it turning out right. So there's no one that can tell me there's only one way to cook rice, because I know of several ways to cook rice. I have my way that I feel is best for me that I use on a regular basis now, even though I have a number of different understandings of different ways of doing it. I've learned that for me, this is the best way to do it, but that's not the only way to do it. And a lot of times if you find yourself and you being that person, you feel like your way is the only way for it to get done, you have a hard time getting people to help you, or having a hard time allowing people to help you, because you feel like it's got to be done this way. That's the only way that is right. If it's not done like this, it's not right. If I don't boil that water and put that rice in and put the butter and salt in and let it cook and put the top on and it ain't right. But I don't even think like that anymore. So you have to allow yourself to grow, and you have to, if you can allow yourself to grow within yourself and you can see it within you, that growth, then you can also allow that for someone else. So the empathy starts with ourselves. So having self-empathy, allowing yourself to make mistakes and fall short, but being forgiving of yourself and not being so hard on yourself. So we would pivot. And when you look at the relationships that you have and the interactions that you have with people in your just everyday life, but mostly in relationships as far as this concerned, what would change our relationships if you're asking, instead of asking who's right in this situation, start asking, what is it that I'm not understanding? What are they trying to express to me that I'm not understanding? What is it that they're trying to get across to me? They keep saying the same thing again and again. They may have said it different. They may have emphasized one word or another over, versus the last way that they said it, made the same statement. But I'm not getting it. I'm not hearing it. And why am I not hearing it? Okay, stop. Take a listen. Make a pivot. What is it that I'm missing? You might want to rephrase the question. A lot of times when we ask somebody to repeat that, we'll say the exact same thing again and again. And in their response, they're going to say the exact same thing again and again. So if I'm asking you what you say, and you said, I say, I'm going to take the milk down the hill. And I say, what again? What you say? I'm going to take the milk down the hill. And it's like, okay, if you change that to say, I heard you say that you were doing something with some milk. What did you say you were doing with the milk? Oh, I'm going to take the milk down the hill. It's just a matter of, it helps you to hear it differently when you say it differently, even if you're saying the exact same thing. If you're understanding, they're not understanding you. Don't just say the same thing, the exact same way, the exact same tone. You want to switch it up, change it up, because it's not clicking. They hear you, but they're not understanding you. They might have understood the words or heard the words that you said, but not understand the thought that you're trying to get across to them. So what is it I'm not understanding? And you can ask them, what is it I'm not understanding? What are you doing with the milk? we barely buy milk anymore. Okay, so the next time someone frustrates you and you're asking yourself, what might this person be experiencing that I know absolutely nothing about? Like the woman buying her appliances. When you look at that situation and you see that this woman is just seems like she's just completely out of her mind. She's just not considerate in any kind of way. She's being really rude and disrespectful and going through all of this stuff, right? For no apparent reason. Well, usually there is some kind of reason. When someone's going off, whether it's, and people are quick to do this, whether they're mentally not there, and even then they need help. So if they're mentally not there, you're pushing back on them, of you're disrespecting them back is not going to help the situation. So if you take a listen, step back, get an understanding, not concerned about who's right or who's wrong. What is it I'm not understanding? What is it that I'm not seeing? And a lot of times that will soften the conversation enough for the person to say, okay, I'm trying to tell you, just let me take it back. Let me slow down. Let me express this in a different way. And maybe it's sometimes we're trying to get the story out the quickest way that we can, and we're leaving out details. Go back, fill in some of those blanks that are not being filled in with that conversation, and tell me what it is that you're trying to say. Tell me what it is that you're talking about. Tell me what it is that you're trying to express. So some of the practical steps in you checking this person out, asking yourself, what might this person be experiencing that I know? And we've talked about these steps. So anytime we have a conversation, I'm going to give you some practical steps as far as how you can implement that into whatever you're doing, into your relationships, into your conversations, into just a practical application for that. So first, listen. So you want to listen fully to what they have to say so you can understand where it is that they're coming from. And like we were saying earlier, you're listening to understand, not listening to respond. So the first one of the practical step is listen, to fully understand what it is that they have to say. Number two would be to pause. Consider what they might be going through for them to react or communicate in this way. Pause. What is it that I don't know about this situation? Right? So you listen, you pause. It's like thinking before you speak, before you respond, think before you respond. But pause. And then number three would be to respond. So if you listened, you got a better understanding, a clear understanding of what it is what they're expressing, whatever it is they're saying. And not that you're going to always have that right, but if you take the time and listen for an understanding, if you don't have an understanding, you'll have clarifying questions to get an understanding. So listen fully to what they have to say so you can understand where they're coming from. Pause, consider what they may be going through for them to react or communicate in this way, and then respond. And you're going to respond, and you're going to be more considerate of what you'd like the outcome of this conversation to look like. So if you know that you want you all to get on the other side of this conversation where you're dealing with each other better, you're having better conversations, you're communicating better, consider your words, consider how you're responding, consider what you're doing, what you're saying, how you're listening, if you're not listening, person. So take that time and do that. So those practical steps, you're going to listen, you're going to pause, you're going to respond. You're going to listen, you're going to pause, and you're going to respond. And if you're listening, I know when we talk about communication, we always talk about communicating is, at least in me, I'm always wanting to express that communication is both talking and listening. So you can't just be the one that's just sitting there with your mouth closed and you letting them do all the talking. That's not communicating. That's just hearing them, because if you're listening to them, you're going to have something to say behind that. You're going to have some response to that. You're going to have some acknowledgement, some clarification, some whatever it is, if you're actively listening and you're trying to get to the other side of that, because that's where we want to be. We want to get to the other side of that. Today's topic is empathy doesn't mean agreement. And we're going to finish this up when we come back from this commercial break.
Are you ready to change your life? Let us help you. At Youth Build Charter School, you can get a high school diploma and kickstart your dream career in no time. We offer high school diploma programs in construction, CNA, military, college, and entrepreneurship. If you are between the age of 16 and 24 and you want to manage your studies with a job, recover your credits, or graduate early, we can help you achieve your dream. Call us at 1-888-395-4408 or visit youthbuildinlandempire.org.
So I just realized, and we're back. I just realized that I didn't write down the MyTueSense challenge for the day. So I'm going to have to take a moment and consider what I want the challenge to be for you guys. So the topic that we're talking about is empathy doesn't mean agreement. Oh, I know what the challenge is. So, like I was talking about my friend that doesn't say no, what I would like for you to do is to say no. Say no. So, certain people are always being asked to do XYZ, right? And when you find that all you do is say yes, 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 yes. And I'm one of those people, I give a lot, I do a lot for other people. But I've pulled back a lot on that over the years because what I understand is that if I pour everything that I have into them, I'm not giving myself what I need. So taking the time to give myself what I need while still allowing some yeses and still being willing to give those yeses and still being open and ready and all of the things, but understand that it's okay to say no. So when you say no, when you say no and you get the opposite of the complete different response from what you would expect for someone to say, when you say that, that's what I want it to be. So your challenge is to say no. So when someone asks you for something, especially something that will hurt you, something that would make you completely go out of your way to do something. Because a lot of us, and I'm speaking to the givers, not those people that don't ever say yes, not those people that are very selfish with their time and energy and whatever, that won't do anything for anyone. I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to those people that are givers, that are just always open to doing and giving for someone else. I want you this week to say no. I didn't tell you guys also that I haven't talked to you until today, but since we last spoke, I got a new grandbaby. Yay! So yes, I have a brand new granddaughter. She was born a few days ago, and I'm super excited to see her. It's something about the grandbabies. It's just totally different from the kids. It's just super special because the kids are special, and it's like the kids are even more special because it's your kids. So yes, I got a brand new grandbaby, brand new granddaughter. She's a little tiny thing. She was just under 6 pounds. She's like 5 pounds and 11 ounces, 5 pounds, 11 ounces, 18 inches long. But she is adorable. And I can't wait to see her. And I had gotten a post from one of my other grandbabies that, they're growing up so fast. They grow up so fast. It goes so quickly. My oldest grandson just graduated high school this past school year back in May. He was the oldest one. And then I have 2 more that are graduating. Well, they're going to 10th grade this year. So no, they're going to 11th grade this year. So they won't be graduating next year, but the following year they'll be graduating. So that's crazy. Woo! Grandbabies. So I got one coming out. Then I have some that's going in, and I have some that's brand spanking new, and you just cannot get enough of those. But what I'd like to do with MyTueSense, and this is kind of just going to talk a little bit more because I have a little time, and I have gone through the material that I wanted to share with you guys. Sometimes I rush through it because, but MyTueSense is about having conversations that I believe that we need to have. So, like I said, if you have a topic of conversation that you want to talk about, whether it's about kids, whether it's about adults, whether it's about divorce, whether it's about relationships, whether it's about heartbreak, whether it's about, I mean, my mantra is happy, healthy, fit, and productive. And there's so many things that fit under that. Being happy, what does it take to be happy? What do you do? And it's, I'm a poet, so I write. And one of the things that I deal with one of the things that I use as far as going through stuff that I go through, and even with the heartbreak thing and anxieties, whether they're high or low, excitement or disappointments, whatever is right. All right. So just you guys are learning more and more about me and the things that I do, because I wear a lot of different hats. I work with a couple of different nonprofits. I have 5 kids, 14 grandbabies, and I write, I cook, I have been getting into sewing. I've been sewing lately here, doing something every week. And Nikisha had said something to me last week. She was like, "You wearing a new outfit every week?" Now, I don't have on a new outfit today. And as a matter of fact, this probably looks like something that's too hot for me to be wearing in the summertime. But during the summer, when it's hot outside, inside, what is it? It's freezing cold because somebody's got the air conditioner going too high, blasting too cold. And so this worked fine. It's super comfortable. It's like a little blanket. And I have pants that go with it, but I'm not wearing the pants right now, but super comfortable. So I'm not hot in this. I am super comfortable. But I have a lot of things that I do. I'm in real estate. I've got a couple of books of poetry that I've actually published. I have a couple of projects that I'm actually still working on. I have a movie script that I'm writing that I've been working on as well. And the movie script, I'll kind of put a pause on. I haven't written in that. It's been a few months. I did pick it up the other day to go in there and do some tweaking, because there's always thing I can do, but it's like sometimes you need to let it to just sit and simmer. And things come to my mind and I go back to it and write. And sometimes, like writing poetry, there are things, and it's just like even with the conversations with MyTueSense, so there are things that just pop up just because of conversations that I've had or something that I heard. Like I heard this woman say something about, and this is something in dealing with breakups, where she was saying how, "I know that we broke up, but sometimes I still need a piece of him." And when she said that, I jotted that down. I was like, "Ooh, I like that." And so I took that and I actually wrote a poem about that as well. But it's like things in life can inspire you, can enrich you, can help you to do some things differently, see some things differently, consider. And that's what I like to do with MyTueSense. I like to share, give you some perspective, some different perspective, because when we look at other perspectives, we see things differently. They have these games, these plexers is what they're called. And when you look at the plexer, they're like, what is that? Like the word mind over the word matter. And it's mind and then a line and then matter. And you're just trying to figure out what is it they're saying, what the phrase is. Now, mind over matter, you're probably going to get that pretty quickly, pretty easily when you're coming from a certain perspective. But if you're coming from a different perspective where you're like, why is the matter down there? And what kind of matter is it talking about? And what kind of is it? It's just like you're looking at it different. Now, I'm really good with those kind of games. But not everybody is. And certain ones you'll get faster than others because of the perspective that you come from. When you have these pictures and they have this one picture and they have in one perspective, it looks like a young woman. In another perspective, it looks like an old woman. So it's depending on what you see. And after you see it, you can't unsee it because you've seen it. There's a lot of pictures and stuff that come up online that show different animals or whatever. And it's like, what animal did you see first? And then after you see it, You know, you can't unsee it. But it's really about the perspective. It's about the colors. It's about the life. It's about the joy. When you look at things from a different perspective, like the covers on your blanket, the covers on the bed. If you get in the covers, it's like, this is cold. I don't like my covers cold. I like them to be nice and warm and cozy. Well, that's one perspective that you can have that is cold. Another perspective that you can have is like, oh, this is fresh and crisp. Get up under there and, oh, fresh and crisp. And then afterwards, the warm and cozy will come. So you can enjoy it. You can love it either way. It's just really a matter of the perspective that you take with it. Right? Let's see, what else did I want to bring up? Nikisha, is there something that I'm missing? And also, was there a something that you want to talk about as far as the business summit coming up in a couple weeks? In what, 10 days, 11 days? Sure.
Add myself to the sticky team.
Putting her on the spot, guys. I'm putting her on the spot. Time, and this little time, it's like it's taking its time. It's slowly going through, and I was like, okay, let's make sure that we're not leaving stuff out.
Yeah, I think I'm having audio issues. So I'm just gonna throw it back over to you to close out. Sorry.
Okay, she's gonna throw it back to me. But there is a business summit coming up at the end of this month on the 22nd and the 21st and the 22nd of August. It's going to be on the Queen Mary in Long Beach. It's a business summit. You can come on, you can be a vendor, you can participate as a guest. They have the summit going on Friday, and then on Saturday there's a casino night and a fancy dinner. So go onto the website to the blackchamberofcommerce.org, and the information for that is on there, as well as she has it here. So the Long Beach chapter awards dinner and casino night. She's showing it on the screen right now. And I guess music by Amina. And then we'll have DJ Nesso. That's for the casino night and the awards dinner. And then on Friday, there's the business summit that's going on, and there's a lot of different vendors and stuff that will be there. So it's always a lot of good information that you learn at the summit. Businesses will be there, conversations that I had that you're not necessarily going to have just anywhere. They're talking about grants and how you can get different grants, how you can work with the community, how you can work in the community, work with different organizations. I remember the last one on Ontario, there was with the city of Ontario, they had a lot of stuff going on that they were sharing with the community and giving out to the community, information, banks. There's a lot of different good information. So if you have a business and you're in business and you're looking to get into business, you have a nonprofit or you're trying to start a nonprofit, there's just so many resources that you can get when you come to these type of things, the business summit, and they can help you to see different perspectives and see how to do things a little different and see how to work things a little different and come up with some different concepts of things. And it's like some things that you take for granted because you do it on a regular basis or you see it on a regular basis. But then when you really get into it, it's like, well, why didn't I do that? I remember a long time ago, I had thought of the idea of having grocery delivery. I didn't do anything with that. And what is happening right now? Grocery delivery, people giving grocery. Do I get paid for that? I am not getting no money off of that. But it was an idea that I had many, many years ago. So there's things that you do on a regular basis that you take it for granted, but it's not. I just started eating frozen grapes. I had never had frozen grapes, but no, it was actually a few months ago I had started trying that. And then it's like, oh, this is so good. You just pop the grapes in the freezer And then I saw that there are people that are actually selling the frozen grapes. And of course, they have other fruits and vegetables that are, or fruits that are frozen. Like I love to eat frozen cherries, but I never thought to have a frozen grape. And they have the frozen fruit, and I can't remember what the name of the brand is, but they have all kind of different flavors of these frozen grapes. So they have the grapes and they're frozen, and they have extra flavors to these frozen grapes. And it's like, why did I think of that? Even though I'm just not finding out about the frozen grapes, but there's different things in life that we do that are like that, like making meatloaf. You can buy the meatloaf already made in the store. Thought about that, It's like, okay, you can put it together and have it ready. This is something that things that you do for yourself to help you do different things. Like I remember when just looking at frozen pancakes. I did frozen pancakes. I made them and froze them because it was like cooking in bulk, and then the kids can just get them really easy when they were really little. I think to sell them, make it a business, but there's so many different things. If you just get a different perspective and see some things different, you'll find that a lot of things that you can do already are stuff that you can put into business, something you can add to your business, or something that you can expand on, or whatever. Just getting some different perspectives. But come out to the business summit, and you can scan the barcode on there as well. The what is it called? That's not a barcode. It's a QR, the QR code. Scan it, and you can get to the website and find out what's going on and find out how you can join in on that. We also have other events that are coming up. We have annual events. We have the Martin Luther King Parade. We have the celebrity golf tournament. So different things that you want to participate in, that you want to be a part of, just reach out and be a part of it. Prepare yourself to be in there next year, or prepare yourself to do some of those things. So I am Debra Mcglothurn. This is My Two Cents. And again, My Two Cents is just my opinion on different topics. I have different topics. I can talk about whatever I want to, whatever I feel like it, and share what I think is good. So I will share my 2 cents. You share your 2 cents, and hopefully together we can make some sense and make minute changes in our lives and the lives of those people around us. I am Debra Mcglothurn, and I am your host of My 2 cents, and I will see you all next week.
One of the secrets to exposure for your business lies within supporting Black businesses and entrepreneurs. And that is why the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce is here, to connect Black businesses from the desert to the sea. Let's join hands to empower and sustain our community. By becoming a member of the Southern California Black Chamber of Commerce, you can grow your business and increase your clientele. With our innovation, we'll generate new businesses and get new customers. And we'll connect new mindsets with businesses from across Southern California to help bridge the wealth gap. Let's connect, build, and grow together. Join us now at blackchamberofcommerce.org.